It brings me great sadness to tell you that today we are reviewing the final episode of House of the Dragon Season 2. The finale! How did we get here already? That has gone so fast. I wasn't ready for it to end. So House of the Dragon Season 2 episode 8 aired in the UK last night. A lot of stuff happened, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's review the season finale for House of the Dragon. If you want to see the reviews that I've done for the other episodes in this season, then I will leave those in the description box, or you can find them on my channel, because I have reviewed them all. To start off with, I just want to put it out there that I think Aemond has played Rhaena so well this season. I wasn't too sure on her at first. I think it's because in season 1 you obviously have the child actor and the adult actor, and even though the two actresses are very well matched, sometimes because I know that they're different actresses, I struggle to believe it's the same character. It's like if I know that they're two different people, in my head I can't make the link that it's just supposed to be different timelines of the same person. So in season 1 I wasn't too sure about her. However, in season 2 she has been absolutely fantastic and she's really brought the character of Rhaena to life. She's done a brilliant job. I also think that the intros to these episodes have been great with the tapestry images, and if you watch back some of the other episodes, the tapestries have actually changed and they've actually added some additional elements in that weren't there before, and I just think that that's a really nice detail. I think it works really well and they're really beautiful to see. So this episode starts off in some place that looks like the Bahamas. And we are greeted with Tyland Lannister, who is over there trying to create alliances, yada yada. And we have a new character that is introduced, who is called Sharaka Lurha. I believe that's her name. And she kind of messes and jests with him a little bit, and I found that that gave a comical effect to the episode. It actually made it really funny. I did find myself chuckling at some of those scenes. They were just really random, like the mud wrestling, the way that she teases him, the way that she suggests that he needs to sleep with all of her wives, which, let's be honest, he is not going to turn down that offer. And I just think that although that storyline felt really random, it was really funny. It just gave quite a comical end to the season, which I'm not sure was actually the desired effect, but I found it funny and I was chuckling and giggling at some of those scenes, especially the mud wrestling, because it's almost like he doesn't want to hit a woman, but then at the same time he is getting shown up by a woman. We've also noticed in previous episodes that Aemond has become gradually more unhinged, and that is also proven in this episode as well, as he does burn down Sharp Point. He is literally becoming insane. However, something that I picked up on was that in the previous episode, in the past 2 episodes actually, he was acting as though he was really invincible. Nothing's gonna stop me. I've got the biggest dragon, nothing can get past me. However, in this episode, he's starting to feel vulnerable. He was becoming a little bit more tearful when he was speaking to Helena in some of the scenes. It's almost like he started to regress back into his childlike state. So rather than thinking he's all powerful and all invincible, he's now realising that actually he's not. He's just a mortal like the rest of us. We have good old Larys Strong and his master plan with Aegon. He's expecting Aegon to go travelling in his current state. They've definitely sped up Aegon's recovery process in season 2 just to keep him as quite an active character. In the books, his recovery process was a lot slower, a lot longer. But if they had kept true to the books in this season, then Aegon would barely have been a character. And I think that they do want him in season 3 to some degree, even though it's most likely that he's just going to be hidden and he's not really going to do too much, because the whole reason that him and Larys are travelling is to escape what's going on at King's Landing, wait for it to all sort itself out, wait for both sides to annihilate each other, and then Aegon can come and take his throne back. So that is their plan. I do feel like Larys respects and is loyal to Aegon. I do believe that. However, his actions are not selfless. He wants to stay close to power. So he also has benefits himself and advantages by staying close and loyal to Aegon. But he is kind of rooting for Aegon as well, I feel like. And we do later learn that it is the best decision for Aegon to escape, because otherwise Rhaena would take over King's Landing and chop Aegon's head off. So getting the heck out of there is the best thing to do. One quote that I really enjoyed in this episode was when Larys says to Aegon, "It is better to live," and Aegon replies with, "Is it? My dragon is dead. I am burnt and disgusting and a cripple. the boy got a point. I also liked the reference between the episode title and what Corlys has now renamed his ship. So there's a scene between him and Rhaenyra where he's mentioned that he's renamed his ship after Rhaenys and the loss of her, and he named his ship The Queen That Never Was. And the episode title is The Queen That Ever Was. And I liked that little link because he's named his ship after Rhaenys, but the episode will be named after Rhaenyra because she is the rightful heir to the throne. She is the rightful queen. I thought it was a good touch. If I'm being completely honest, don't come at me, this episode was slow. There was a lot of people talking, a lot of the scenes were just conversations, there wasn't really any action, and then there was a random shot of Rhaena drinking some water, which felt like just to fill out the episode by an extra few minutes. One thing that I did like though was the whole part with Daemon and Rhaenyra. So I have found Daemon's character to be really boring in this entire season, I've got to be honest. I get it, I get why he's at Harrenhal, I get why he was having these trippy visions, but he was just there for too long, it was too slow, too boring for my liking personally. However, I feel like this episode brought it back a bit. We had the whole speculation where Alfred was starting to be very traitorous towards Rhaenyra and was pledging himself to Daemon, encouraging him to usurp Rhaenyra, try and get the throne. And then Rhaenyra goes over to Harrenhal due to receiving word from Simon Strong. And we've seen some of her own speculations over the past few episodes that Daemon might not be loyal to her anymore. But all I gotta say is good boy Daemon. He pledged himself truly to Rhaenyra, saying she's the rightful queen, he's got her back, he's loyal to her. And that was very wholesome, that whole scene where they're speaking High Valyrian and he's mentioning to her about some of the visions that he's seen and he is devoting himself to her. And I just thought that was great. That was probably my favourite part of the episode, was that whole scene. I also love in this scene how excited Daemon's dragon was to see Rhaenyra and Adam of Hull's dragons. Almost like this dragon has been so lonely because the whole time at Harrenhal, Daemon has just been tripping balls and this dragon's just been left there to do nothing. He was so excited to see his friends. It was really cute. And within this episode as well, Daemon basically watches the whole season of Game of Thrones. In the scene where he is touching the weirwood trees, there's lots of Easter eggs implemented into that bit. So if you're interested in the lore, that was a scene that is one you'd particularly enjoy. And what I found particularly interesting was how it seems like Helena actually spoke to Daemon through the weirwood network, I'm assuming. Like she had a conversation with him and that seemed like it was very present, like that was a very real thing. Like he wasn't just imagining her, it was almost like she was actually speaking to him through those visions. So that makes me think that her abilities and the dragon dreams are a lot more complex and strong than I initially thought they were going to be. So that's really interesting. I am actually quite excited for her storyline to pick up hopefully a bit more in season 3. I'd be interested to know more about her abilities. And in relation to Helena, because she was mentioned a lot more in this episode, there's a conversation between her and Alicent where Alicent mentions around leaving and Helena basically says, what is the point? So she has seen this whole thing play out. She has the full spoilers for seasons 3 and 4 and she doesn't see the point in leaving King's Landing. And that's also a very similar conversation between her and Aemond later on in the episode, where he's trying to encourage her to fight with him, to ride Dreamfire. And she says no, because she knows the fate of this all. She's not a fighter, she's not a killer. And she also basically tells him exactly how he's gonna die. And it's almost like she knows how she's gonna die and she's come to some sort of peace and acceptance around that, and that nothing she does is going to change anything. Really interesting scenes from Helena in this episode. I really liked that because I feel like we've not had much from her this season. My question is though, why did the Kingsguards not intervene when Aemond was manhandling the Queen? He's literally grabbing Helena and dragging her, and Alicent is the one who has to break it up. Like, yes, Aemond is the king regent, like temporarily, but Helena's literally the queen. We only got one small tiny little scene of Crispy Cole in this episode where he's basically gone very depressy, very stressy, and he's just kind of resigned himself to the fact that this is all a massive pointless mess. So we're starting to see some conflict and possible tension between the new dragon riders, the Dragonseeds, We've got Ulf, who is being disrespectful, he's being way too outspoken, especially towards the Queen Rhaenyra, and maybe he's letting it get to his head because he knows that he's needed. He knows that he is important and that they're not gonna survive this war without the Dragonseeds. He knows he's important, and so he's kind of feeling a bit invincible, kind of thinking they're not gonna kill me, they're not gonna behead me for speaking out to the Queen because they need me. But there's definitely conflict between him and Jace. Jace has already been quite reluctant to trust the new dragon riders. He's kind of feeling it's not very fair because he's also illegitimate. So what separates him from these people? He's kind of feeling like he doesn't have as much importance anymore. Poor Jace. Although Jace has done nothing but pout and smoulder in this entire season. He needs to get a new facial expression. In season 3, Ulf is going to become a bigger problem. Again, we have Tyland Lannister, who is literally surrounded by insane people and they just want to use him as a sperm donor. I didn't like in this episode how the shots of Rhaena were about 3 seconds long and very choppy. We had a shot of her drinking some water. We then had a shot of her running up a hill, shivering in the night. They were all very short, very choppy. I don't think they were needed, to be honest. I feel like they've introduced her storyline of claiming a dragon way too early. Like, why hint this to us a few episodes ago if you're then not going to progress it at all? Like, nothing's really happened. That was really anticlimactic. I was expecting in this episode that she was going to at least like claim the dragon, and then we could look forward to season 3 thinking that at some point she's going to join the battle. But that wasn't the case in this episode. She saw the dragon and then it ended. So I don't really get why they've introduced her storyline that early. And to be honest, I'm gonna have forgotten about her by the time that season 3 arrives. Not sure if her scenes were just filler. I'm just being honest. We also have a parallel where Alicent sneaks over to meet with Rhaenyra, which is a vice versa from when Rhaenyra snuck off to meet Alicent further on earlier on in the series. Alicent is again trying to back out of this situation despite her being the one who started it in the first place. She's such an infuriating character. She recognises Rhaenyra as queen and sacrifices her own son. Little does she know at this point that she wouldn't have had to sacrifice him anyway because he has escaped. We also interestingly got a small teaser of Otto Hightower, so we know that he has been locked up in a cell for the past 2 episodes and he will definitely be back in season 3. They wouldn't show that if he wasn't going to play some sort of role later on. So that's quite a nice little teaser, just a couple seconds short just so that we know where he is. The episode ends with all of these different groups all marching on, making their journeys. We saw the Starks that were referenced to right at the start of the season in the first episode. So thanks to Jace, they are now making their way over there. They are now arriving. And yeah, we just got all these different groups all marching on, so I quite liked that. And then the episode ends. So I have some thoughts on this episode. It was a good episode, don't get me wrong. It was helpful for a lot of context. Again, it's laying the foundations for a lot of tension to come up in a future episode. It was an enjoyable watch. That being said, this did not feel like a finale. To me, anyway. It felt like a mid-season episode, maybe even penultimate. It was very anticlimactic. We now have 2 years probably to wait until the next one, and I just felt a bit let down by this final episode. And to be fair, like I said earlier, a lot of this episode was just conversation. There wasn't really much tension or conflict. It was just people talking to each other and laying foundations for future conflict. I kind of wish that something else had happened at the end. They could have added another like 10 minutes of something just to give me some substance. So I was actually a little bit disappointed by this episode. I wouldn't have been disappointed if it wasn't a finale. Like, if it was just a normal mid-season episode, I would have still enjoyed it and I would have given it more of a positive review. However, because this was supposed to be a finale, it didn't give me what I needed it to. I saw a comment online where somebody said that they felt like the episode was just a trailer for season 3, and I don't think I could have put it any better myself. Like, that is literally how it feels. Sorry, I'm sorry, I hate to say it, it pains me to say it, but the finale fell flat for me. Still enjoyed it though. So that is my opinion on the finale, House of the Dragon season 2 episode 8. What did you think? I would love to know your comments and opinions. I would love to know if my opinion is an unpopular one or not. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this season, for watching my reviews and for watching this video as well. I do appreciate it. Next week I'm going to upload an entire season 1 and 2 recap and my season 3 predictions. So stay tuned for that. The House of the Dragon action has not ended yet on this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know that you did. And if you like my content and you want to see more from me, then please subscribe because it's free and it just means you can see my videos a little bit easier. I will see you next time, or rather you'll see me, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now.